You've probably heard the name Alan Turing. He was a mathematician, a code breaker, a philosopher, and a visionary. He's called the father of the modern computer, and yet so much of his life was hidden away, ending in absolute tragedy. So let's really get into the story of this incredible, enigmatic man. To really get Turing, you have to start right here, with this just massive contradiction at the heart of his life. I mean, think about it. On one hand, he's a national hero. His face is literally on the money, the 50-pound note. He was given the Order of the British Empire for his service. But on the other hand, the very same country he helped save from destruction turned around and branded him a criminal. They prosecuted him just for being gay and then stripped him of his security clearance, stopping him from doing the work he was born to do. So that really brings us to the core question, doesn't it? When you strip away the labels, the hero, the victim, who was the real Alan Turing? To figure that out, we've got to go all the way back to the beginning, back to when this unbelievable mind first started to reveal itself. You know, it was obvious from a super young age that Turing was just different. This wasn't just a smart kid. His primary school headmistress saw it plain as day. Her quote says it all. "I have had clever boys and hardworking boys, but Alan is a genius." She knew she was looking at a mind that was on a whole other level. But here's where we get a glimpse of what truly drove him. It wasn't just intellect. His first love, a brilliant classmate named Christopher Morcom, died suddenly from tuberculosis. Turing was completely shattered. But instead of letting that grief destroy him, he channeled it. He dedicated himself to the scientific work they had both been so passionate about. This devastating loss became the fuel for the rest of his life's work. And that drive, that promise he made to his lost friend, was about to be put to the ultimate test during World War II at a top-secret place called Bletchley Park that would quite literally change the course of history. Okay, so this incredible-looking machine is the bomb. It's not a weapon in the traditional sense, but it was an intellectual powerhouse. See, the Germans had the Enigma machine, which created a code so ridiculously complex, everyone thought it was unbreakable. Turing's bomb was designed to crack it. It basically ran through thousands of possible Enigma settings at high speed. It looked for a key contradiction, since the Enigma machine could never encrypt a letter as itself. When the bomb found that, bam, it had a potential key. It was an absolute game changer. And the impact of this? It was just staggering. The official war historian figured that the work done at Bletchley Park, with Turing's machine at the very center of it all, shortened the war in Europe by more than 2 years. Just let that sink in. Think of how many millions of lives were saved because of that. And here's the thing. The genius behind it all was this wonderfully eccentric guy. His coworkers called him the Prof. He had terrible hay fever, so he'd bike to work wearing a gas mask. He was so paranoid someone would steal his favorite tea mug that he literally chained it to a radiator. And on top of everything else, he was a phenomenal marathon runner, sometimes just deciding to run the 40 miles to London for meetings. He was one of a kind. So the war ends, but a mind like Turing's doesn't just switch off. He went from breaking codes to dreaming up the very machines that now run our entire world. Way back in 1936, even before the war, Turing came up with this idea called the Turing machine. Now, it wasn't a real physical thing. It was a thought experiment, a theoretical blueprint. Basically, it was a hypothetical machine that could follow any set of instructions you gave it to solve any computable problem. This abstract concept, it's the DNA. It's the fundamental idea behind every single computer, smartphone, and piece of tech we use today. But he didn't just imagine machines that could calculate. He imagined machines that could think. He proposed what we now call the Turing Test. It's a simple, brilliant way to ask, can a machine be intelligent? The idea is this. You have a human judge chat via text with both a human and a machine. If the judge can't reliably tell which one is the machine, then that machine has passed the test. It's a question that started the entire field of artificial intelligence, one we're still wrestling with today. But right at the absolute peak of his intellectual powers, the world that Alan Turing had done so much to save, well, it turned on him, and it led to one of the most shameful moments in modern British history. Just look at this timeline. It shows you how fast, how brutally, everything fell apart. In 1946, he's a national hero, getting a medal from the king for saving the country. Just 6 years later, he's a convicted criminal, prosecuted for his relationship with another man, and only 2 years after that, he was dead. The justice he faced was just barbaric. He was given this horrific choice: go to prison or agree to chemical castration. He chose probation, but the condition was that he had to undergo a year of hormone injections meant to destroy his sex drive. The physical and psychological toll of this treatment was absolutely devastating. And look at this contrast. It says everything. On the left, there's the medal he got for his service. On the right, the result of his conviction. His security clearance was gone. He was barred from continuing his vital work at GCHQ, the very intelligence agency he helped create. The government that honored him with one hand discarded him with the other. It's just heartbreaking. For decades, that injustice just stood there, a stain on history. But eventually, so slowly, the country he saved began the long process of trying to make things right and to finally recognize the true scale of his genius. It took over half a century. The first step was in 2009, when the British government issued a formal public apology for what they called the appalling way he was treated. Then, in 2013, came a very rare royal pardon from the Queen. And finally, and this is so important, in 2017, the government passed the Alan Turing Law, which posthumously pardoned thousands of other men who had been convicted under those same cruel, outdated laws. So today, his legacy is finally secure. And it's everywhere you look. He's on the £50 note. A huge BBC poll voted him the greatest scientist of the 20th century. The Nobel Prize of Computing is called the Turing Award. He is, without a doubt, the father of two fields that define the world we live in: computer science and AI. And that brings us to the final big question that Turing's life leaves us with. It's more than just a biography. His story forces us to ask some really tough things about ourselves. How does a society make up for the terrible injustices of its past? And how do we learn to finally and fully celebrate the very genius that we once so cruelly cast aside?